Hi, it's me, Cheryl from Storyvalues, where we travel the world through stories and our imaginations. Let's begin with our welcome song. If you know the song, you can sing it with me. Hello, I'm so glad you're here for the storyteller's journey. Hello, I'm so glad you're here to join me for a story. My name's Cheryl. That's my name. Can you say hi, Cheryl? Thank you. Now I feel very welcomed. Hello, I'm so glad you're here to join me for a story. What's your name? Can you say your name? Welcome, I'm so glad you're here. Hello, I'm so glad you're here for the storyteller's journey. Great, that's our welcome song, and I welcome you to our story time. When I tell stories, I always bring my magic story bag. Inside are stories from all over the world. To find out which story we'll listen to, we'll say the story bag poem. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Story bag, what have you to say? Story bag, what's in you today? Oh, we have a stick. Look, it's a real stick. Look at that. This is a story inspired by an old folk tale from India called The Girl Who Wanted a Drum. As I tell the story, try to imagine all the scenes that are in the story. Story ears open, story mouths quiet, story buckles buckle, and let us begin. Once upon a time, long ago, there lived a little girl and her mother. The mother was a wonderful weaver. She could make the most beautiful fabrics. One day the mother said, "My daughter, I'm going to take this fabric to the market and sell it. If I have enough money after I buy our food, I will buy you a gift. What would you like?" And her little girl said, "Oh, mother, I would like a drum, please." She wanted to be a musician when she grew up. The mother took the fabric to the market and sold it. But alas, she didn't have enough money to buy her daughter a drum. She didn't have enough money to buy her a gift at all. As the mother walked home, she saw a stick lying on the side of the road and said, "I bet my clever, creative daughter can make something out of this stick." And she gave the stick to her little girl. Her little girl took the stick outside to play. Soon the little girl came to a woman standing by the side of the road trying to build a fire, and there was smoke billowing everywhere, and she coughed. And the little girl asked, "What's happening, ma'am?" She said, "I'm trying to build a fire to bake my bread, but the wood is wet, and I just get smoke." And the little girl said, "This stick is dry. Would this stick help?" The woman thanked her, took the stick, put it down, and poof, a great flame burst forth, and she was able to bake her bread. When she finished, she said, "Here, little girl, you can have this bread." The little girl said, "Oh, thank you." The little girl took the bread and walked down by the river. There she came to a woman who had a baby. The woman was making bowls out of clay, and the baby was crying, "Wah, wah!" The little girl asked, "What's happening, ma'am?" She said, "I'm trying to make bowls out of clay, but my baby is hungry." And the little girl said, "Would the baby like this bread?" She gave the bread to the baby, who ate it and said, "Goo, goo, goo." When the mother finished making the bread, she said, when she finished making the bowl, she said, "Here, you can have this bowl." And the little girl said, "Oh, thank you." She took the bowl and continued walking by the river. There she came to a man who had on a beautiful stole around his shoulders, and he was scooping water up with a jug. The water on his fingers made the jug slippery, and it fell and broke. And the man said, "Oh no!" And the girl asked, "What's wrong, sir?" He said, I need to carry home water, but I broke the water jug. The girl said, would you like this bowl? And he said, thank you. He said, you can have this stole of mine. And she said, oh, thank you. She continued walking by the river, and there she saw a man swimming in the water. La, 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 la. He stepped out of the river, shook himself dry, and looked around and screamed, ah! The little girl asked, what is wrong, sir? He said, I was swimming in the river and somebody took my clothes. I can't walk around in my underwear. And the girl said, would this stole help? And he said, yes. And he wrapped himself up in the stole and said, here, little girl, you can have my horse. And she said, oh, thank you. She got on the horse and rode to the top of the hill, where she came to a great wedding party. There were many people in their fine clothes, and the bridegroom was saying, where could they be? The little girl said, what's wrong, sir? He said, I'm supposed to get married today, and I need to ride a horse to my wedding, but my friend is late in bringing my horse. The girl said, would you like to ride this horse? And he said, yes, thank you. Then the bridegroom turned to one of the musicians that were in the group of people with him and said, musician, will you give this girl my finest drum? The musician handed the girl a drum, and she said, oh, thank you. She hurried home and said, Mother, look what I have. She had been given a drum, the gift of her dreams because of the kindness and generosity of her heart. And there be my story, be it bitter or sweet. Take what you like, but leave enough for me to eat. Very nice. Now, I wonder what you thought of that story. I wonder if you were able to picture the different scenes. The little girl met many people, didn't she? She met the woman who was making the fire to bake her bread. She met the mother and the baby. She met the man scooping up water. And she met the man swimming in the river who only had his underpants. And then she met the bridegroom. She met a lot of people, and she helped every single one. Wow. Now, as I've said before, stories often have a lesson for us so we could learn something from. What do you think we could learn from this story? Now, there are no right or wrong answers. When you listen to a story, it can mean something different to you than it does to me. And that's wonderful. That's the wonder of stories. So what do you think you could learn from this story? I think this story is a wonderful example of generosity. The little girl was generous and kind to everyone she met. And then they were generous to her as well. So that's another idea. Maybe it shows us that generosity is contagious. So that means if you are generous to someone, maybe they will be generous to you. It's not that you do something nice just so someone will be nice to you. But it seems that when you can inspire generosity. And you can also learn generosity from other people. I learn that a lot from other people. When people are generous to me, it's wonderful. And I learn from that. Well, I hope you enjoyed our story, and I hope you'll come back for another story. Let's sing our goodbye song. So long, bye-bye to you. So long, bye-bye to you. So long, bye-bye to you. So long, peace be with you. All right, see you next time for another story.